How can we make forward-facing sonar tournaments better for fans? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the vlog. If you're new, my name is Steve Chapman. How do we make forward-facing sonar dominant tournaments better for the fans? Better for casual people that might stumble across the fishing tournaments. Forward-facing sonar isn't going anywhere. It's only going to get better as the years go on. There is some of us that need to make a drastic change on how we feel about it. I am probably one of them. I do believe that forward-facing sonar is not interesting in fishing tournaments. However, if you're a casual angler or a weekend warrior, I think you should have it. I think it allows you to catch more fish. But in tournaments, it isn't good because it becomes boring for many reasons. And do me a favor, don't shoot the messenger here. Let's have a conversation about this, a proper conversation about this, without throwing jabs or throwing punches or even calling out other people. That isn't what this channel is about. Now, if you like forward-facing sonar, that's great. If you don't like forward-facing sonar, that's also great. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. I'm asking, how do we make the tournaments that we love and the sport and the hobby that we love, the tournaments that are forward-facing sonar dominant, how do we make them more interesting and more fun for the fans to like? How do we make those tournaments better for the fans? Now, I believe the biggest issue that happens with forward-facing sonar is that the fans are bored. And I think there's many reasons why. Some people don't like that they're staring down. Unfortunately, that's what we've always had too. You have to remember that we've never seen the front or the angler on the looking backwards unless he's casting backwards. So that argument kind of is null and void. We've always seen the back of anglers. But I think where it comes down to what needs to happen is because there's a lot of anglers that are using the technology. They are looking down and they're only casting at fish that are big. This past tournament on Lake St. Clair, a perfect example is Ethan Fothergill, one of the best anglers out there, said, I'm not casting at 3+ pounders. I'm casting at 4s and 5s. Those are the fish that are going to win me the tournament. So a lot of times, the cameraman's on that boat and they cut to Easton and he's not communicating or articulating what his strategy is other than I'm only going to cast at certain fish. And then you're stuck with an angler that is not casting at all, is not talking at all, and is staring down and has his back to us. And I think that's where fans become aggravated with forward-facing sonar. But how can we make it better? Now, I'm going to read a lot of this because I take so many notes and so many ideas, and I've done 4 or 5 videos in a row that I don't remember what I wrote down. That's the God's honest truth. Number 1, we need to make tech part of the show with a split screen coverage, including graphics and arrows and other things that show where and what fans should be looking for when they're watching fishing. And by this, I mean if they have the graph of what that angler is seeing on a split screen and we're watching the angler in real time, explain what he's looking at with arrows that are coming from the production group that can say, here is exactly what you're looking at. You can see that bait falling, but here is that bass. Here is this bass. Having those graphics will keep people entertained and give us a little bit of engagement in what we're watching. Number 2, they need to mic the anglers much better. Communication is key. They need to teach the anglers how to articulate what they're seeing, what their strategy is, and what they're gonna do. We need to hear the thought process, the excitement and the frustration when it doesn't work out. Now I'm going to use another example. Just this last weekend, stage 7 on the BPT, they were on Saginaw Bay. And on the last day, we got to hear Jacob Wheeler tell us his strategy on what he was doing. Now, he wasn't using forward-facing sonar, but what he did was, as he was trolling from one place to another, he gave us his strategy on what he thought the fish were going to do and how he was going to fish. Now, if you missed this, you missed one of the best communicators and someone who was articulating every little strategy that he had in his mind. And I think there's too many anglers that when they are using forward-facing sonar, they just become a blob, that there's nothing coming out of their mouth. We need to teach these anglers how to articulate and to communicate with us all of the little intricacies of what they're thinking about, what they want to do. Tell us what they're seeing on the screen, why they're not casting at that fish versus they're casting at that fish. Communication will only help bring the fan engagement and allow us to get a better insight on what those anglers are seeing and doing. Third, we need to educate and entertain the fans. I think we need to have real-time commentary, such as why the angler is casting there versus why he isn't casting there. I think we need to hear what the fish is doing and the choices that this angler wants to make. And we need to make the commentary relatable to the everyday fan. Not everybody can afford the technology in forward-facing sonar. So we need to explain to the fans exactly what's going on in real time. Either the commentators do it or the angler does it. I do believe in this case it's a commentary thing. And while the commentator is talking and explaining to us everything, they need to make it relatable. And lastly, I think we need to drastically improve production quality. Instant replays with slow motion is crucial. Overlays with path of where the fish is going or where the lure is. Because seeing where the bait is on the screen, on their forward-facing sonar, on that split screen, only gives us more engagement. And it allows us to know what we're looking for. Like I said, not everybody has this technology. You could show it to me and I still wouldn't know it because I'm not someone who's used technology to the way that these anglers are. I am confused, and I watch every tournament and showing us where the bait is versus where the fish is. And I'm not just talking about the lure. I'm talking about bait in the water. And how that angler is tracking that school of fish will only keep us engaged in what's going on. And I think there's a really big way of making technology better for the average fan. Are you going to win everybody over? No. But with some production improvements, communication, and many other things, it might help drive the casual fan to appreciate what those anglers are doing. Because learning that technology and getting fish to bite with that technology is not easy. Anglers who spend the time and learn the technology are wanting to win. You can't expect to win a tournament when you're not using the tools and equipment that will get you there. And I think there's many ways to improve technology for a better fan engagement. Would you watch fishing? Would you watch forward-facing sonar fishing if some of these things were done? What do you think could be done to make you watch it more? And don't say, just turn it off. That's a scapegoat thing. Let's keep it real. What can they do to make it better for us to watch? Comment below and tell me what you think. Thanks to all the new subscribers and members and everyone who's interactive on the channel. I really do appreciate it. It is humbling and it's a great experience. And while it's a weird time, I really, really appreciate everyone who checks in on me, texts me, calls me, all that stuff. I'm humbled by it, so thank you. But if you're not a subscriber, you should be. If you're one of that 65.4% of the people who watch this channel and are not a subscriber, do me a favor. Click that subscribe button and click that bell so you know when the next video comes out. Remember, take your kid fishing, tight lines, cheers, and get your fish on.